Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKadosh, and double honors to the head apostles of the great millstone that have taught me what I know, and including the bishops on down. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Brakatham, 244,000, and including the 1/3 as well that do follow. And it's your brother Laban coming at you with another video. And in this video, I want to begin by speaking on what had happened during the Pesach, probably, or maybe a day before. And you had a shootout at a major public setting in Moscow, Russia. And it was found out that these men were coming from Ukraine, that were calling themselves ISIS, which, realistically, we know where ISIS comes from. As we should know, it's been revealed, where that group originally stems from. And basically, I'll get into that later on. But what I want to talk about is this over here. And which Russia already knows where these guys are coming from. And I believe that, of course, stuff like this has been already forewarned among, very powerful people before this even happens. All right. Because, there's a reason for this. There's a plot. And with that, they need to throw out there the idea that you have T's waiting in the wing, ready to do whatever they got to do. Because, again, they got to propose a narrative, which is something major that they need people to, come under. Because a lot of people are not really in agreement with the mainstream media and what they're saying anymore, because they've lost the narratives now. People are finding out their own news and watching the alternative news outlets and what have you. So, before this devil really, gets the ball rolling, he's going to definitely trigger the minds of the people in a more of a, I would say an astronomical triggering way to then, change the minds or bend the minds to their will, so to speak, so that when they do say what they got to say, the people are going to, dance to what they say. Okay, because once you have the people's minds like they did before, you can tell the people what they need to do. All right. So there's going to be major psychological operations happening. So much so that, again, they're going to have to bend the people in a way to think to that of how they used to think. OK, because the ultimate plan we know is to formulate a new world system, which includes total control. And we're talking about government on a different level. All right. This is something that they're gearing for now. So let me read this. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin alleged that Ukraine tried to help in the escape of the perpetrators of the terrorist attack on the Moscow Concert Center that has killed at least 39 people now. The IS group has claimed the responsibility for Friday night's attack on Krakow City Hall, a large music venue in which armed men entered and opened fire on concert goers. The U.S. said the IS claim was credible. Putin said on Saturday that all the suspects had been apprehended on their way, to Ukraine. Earlier reports indicates that a window had been prepared to cross the international border. Although the Russian leader did not blame Kyiv directly, Newsweek has not yet been able to verify Putin's claims, and Ukraine has firmly denied it had anything to do with the attacks. Newsweek had contacted the Ukraine Foreign Ministry for comments, and there's some evidence out there which is going on Twitter, if I'm correct, showing Ukraine soldiers putting on or wearing uniform, which says that they're coming from the ISIS group. All right, so that's already been put out there. So if people now have access to that now, I mean, come on. Of course, the Kremlin already had access to that information. All right, and they know it is them. In his comments, more than 19 hours after the attack, the Russian leader said that the 4 direct perpetrators of the T's attack has been arrested and a total of 11 people have been detained. So that's all I'm going to read right there. So now what I want to do is I want to read some scriptures here, because we know that the Most High is a power of secrets, right? Daniel 2 in verse 28, but there is a power in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter times. Thy dreams and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. So when I read this to make the point that the point is that the Lord reveals to the servants, the prophets as well, that of the prophecies, of course, first and foremost being in this case, but as well as things that, you wouldn't think that men would know about. The Lord will reveal it to other men, which are indeed the prophets primarily, as it reads also in the book of Amos 3, where it reads that the Lord doeth nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. So in other words, really in all reality, the secrets is really the Bible. The Bible is basically the best kept secret, because everybody has a Bible in the house. It's actually a public secret. Everybody has a Bible in the house, but no one understands the book. So if you understand the book, you know the secrets of life, because the secrets of life are foretold by the prophets. And all we got to do is read it with understanding, and we'll see that, okay, yeah, this prophecy's playing out. That prophecy's playing out. This is playing out because of that. So that's how we know the secrets of the word, because it all goes back to knowing the book, which is the best kept secret. Okay? So that's how I'm going to put that. And this is why we are not ignorant of anything, as this reads over here. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Doesn't it also read that we have an unctioning, that we know of all things? That's in the book of what? 1 John chapter 2 and verse 20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. So if we know all things, then there's no need for ignorancy, from the least from the greatest to the least of it. And this guy over here, I forgot the guy's name. I think it's gonna say it on this video over here. But this was aired out in the year 1990, and it was revealed that ISIS actually stands for the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, just to revive this back and bring this back into mind for you brothers, and as well as you sisters that are viewing this as well.
Question, but the trouble is, you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad is institute. But when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS. Just simple words like that. Interestingly enough, kind of a British model.
So there you have it. So he just basically told you what the ISIS is today, which that name has been, there it is, his name. This is his name, Salakia. Dan Raviv. That's his name right there. And I believe he's an Amalekite as well. But yeah, that's just the truth. The truth of the matter is that that's really what this is. So it's not a natural group which was, naturally started by a bunch of men in the East. That's a lie. It's basically an Israeli intelligence service group, right along with the CIA. All right, and that's come out as well over here as this reads. Deadly Moscow T attack was clearly carried out with the help of Ukraine and the CIA. And I mean, that's believable because the American military somehow, some way would be in the midst of this, or an intelligence agency would be in the midst of Ukraine. Okay, so that's definitely a believable notion. So I'm going to read a little bit of this anyway. So it reads, the Neo author. Now I ain't going to read that part. Let's get right into this. In a horrific incident that has left the nation in shock, a large concert venue near Moscow became the scene of a mass shooting late Friday. The Crocus City Hall attack resulted in over 100 people dead, including children, and is one of the worst tease attacks in Russia's modern history. According to the latest estimates, at least 139 people were killed and scored injured in the deadly shooting and subsequent fight sparked by a group of gunmen who stormed the Crocus City Hall. The reason why I mentioned 139 because that's the current number now. A large music venue just outside of the Russian capital. Details are still emerging, but according to the Russian Federal Security Service, the attack was carefully planned and designed to maximize casualties, and an investigation into the incident is underway. So now, okay, let me see. Yeah, I just want to read the part as to why the head of the article says that somehow, some way they're connected with the CIA. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right. All right. So now, right. Right. Okay. Well, they don't really elaborate on. Hold on. Wait there. Maybe. Mm. Mm. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So you know what? What I'll do is I'll read this part over here. I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna read all of this. Okay. So yeah. So this reads: the question arises: who could be responsible for this incident? A possible culprit includes Ukraine, the US, or even Russia itself. However, regardless of who is the ultimate found to be behind it, the emotional response from the Russian population will likely be the same: outrage and anger. At present, it's probable that many Russians are demanding retaliation against Western cities like Washington, D.C., Paris, and London. While Putin is generally considered a level-headed leader, he may still face significant domestic political pressure to take dramatic actions in response to this event. If Ukraine or the U.S. is discovered as the perpetrator, Putin could find himself caught in an escalation trap, needing to respond in a way that appeases his country's anger to desire for justice. So, this article doesn't really explain how the CIA could be connected with this, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because in order for, this to be staged, if America is involved in this, then yeah, the CIA would have to been involved in this. All right. If that's the case, because you need intelligence to do something foolishness. Just do something foolish. Okay. And then it's also a possibility, because we have to be open-minded as well, that even maybe Russia could have did this as well for a particular reason. All right. Because they all want the same thing. I mean, come on, from both sides of the spectrum, they're all the same people. I mean, when you look at the geopolitical, when you look at what's going on geopolitically among these politicians, man, it looks as like it's a real personal thing going on between these nations, but it's not personal. It's equivalent to that of WWE. All right. But this is going to get real, because you're going to have real weapons of mass destruction being used to literally bring great devastation like none other. And that great devastation is going to land directly where it needs to land prophetically wise, and that is going to be the landmass of America. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to read the book of Jeremiah 15, and we will read verse 13 to just get to the point. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate, and everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, and spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord. So all of those arrows that the Russians are going to possess, and as well as their allies, and including the allies of America, which that's also written in the book of Revelations, the 17th chapter, that these shall hate the whore, the 10 horns, which represents the 10 original European countries that came together to formulate that which was called the European Union, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, to combat against those of the USSR, which is known as the Soviet Union at the time, are going to retaliate against their enemy and shooting their missiles, which is what their bows and their arrows are. Okay, now that is the landmass that we keep talking about that will not be spared. Now, you're going to have lands like Russia that are going to be nuked here and there. You're going to have certain lands in Europe that are going to be nuked here and there. But guess what? The only land that's going to be nuked viciously is America. And that is going to be the land that no man is going to revive. It's going to be the only land which will resort back to what it was. But this time it's going to be a desert. It ain't going to be like how it was during the time of when the 10 tribes captured it. All right. It's literally going to be a no man's land where desert-like creatures are going to inhabit, because it's going to be a 5,000 square mile worth of land of desert. And it's going to be desolate. So this is what is is installed. The purposes of the Lord. Verse 14, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow. In other words, all those that have the missile, shoot at her and spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord. How did she sin against the Lord? By transgressing the laws and influencing the world to transgress the laws. All right. Having men believe that it's okay to accept women above the men, and having men and women believe that it's okay to change who they are gender wise. All right. And various of more wickedness that has influenced the world. So this is why Babylon is going to pay even on that regard. And as well as we can't even forget, we have to include the enslavement of our nation, the lynching that happened, the buck breakings and the various, cruel, odious works of wickedness that they have performed on our people. All right. And we can't even forget the so-called North American Indians, the Seminole Indians, how they did them. You want to talk about Wounded Knee. You want to talk about passing treaties and breaking them so that you can take their land and cast them away into reservation camps, which is nothing more than projects. All right. And taking over their land, a land that does not belong to you. All right. So eventually the time is going to come. All of that has to be paid. And it's going to be paid in fire. It's going to be paid in fire. Verse 15, shout against her round about, and she have given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord. Yahweh, take vengeance upon her as she have done, do unto her. Exactly. As it is also written, do unto her double according to her works. All right. So America is going to get it. And by the looks of it, it's looking very near and dear. We've been speaking about this. We've been prophesying about this. Let me correct myself. Use that word instead. For a long time coming, and it's looking very likely that America is going to go out in a way that, as Jeremiah put it, in a way as Revelation put it, is the way of Isaiah put it. I mean, we have more than one witnesses here that have seen the vision of the great city, which is known as America, which is also known, according to the Bible, as Babylon, or old daughter Babylon, or Nineveh, or Egypt. All right. And this is going to be severely destroyed like none other. So that's all I have to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the head apostles of the great millstone that have taught me what I know, and as well as even including the bishops on down under them, as I can quite remember. And with that, I'm closing. Shalom.